Hey, this is Rockin' Larry Lockin with the Larry Lockin 3 channel at the Arcturian Crystalline Grid Project. Hey, I had a channeling come through me a little bit ago, a collective by the name of the Crystal Blue Arcturian Angels of Arcturus Collective. They're from the 13th Dimension. They've got a little bit they want to share with everybody out there that might be interested in the Arcturians, and they think it just might be a good idea, if you're not familiar with who they are, to let them get you a little bit familiar with who they are exactly. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into it. They operated out of the 13th dimension. They want you to know that the entire Arcturian star system right now only goes as low as the 9th dimension now. That's the lowest dimension it goes into. The 13th is the highest, because anything after 13 is complete angelic realms. And the Arcturians are almost ascended to that point anyway. The ones that are, still in the lower, in the 9th to the 13th dimension, but those last two, the 9th and the 10th, those are star energies. Those are star dimensions. We talked about Pleiades before being 5th through 11th. They've got one angelic realm there in the 11th dimension. Well, the Arcturians are in 5 different dimensions. The first 2 being the last of the star dimensions before you get into the angelic realms. Before graduating on to becoming that full-fledged perfect angel, so to speak. They also would like to let you know that they were the earliest known human race in this galaxy. That was approximately, if they were to put a time frame on it, they said that would be about not a million, not a billion, not a trillion, not a quadrillion, but a quintillion years ago. They were like Earth humans now, about a quintillion years ago. They are not sure, they're confused. The one thing that they don't really know, and nobody really knows in the galaxy, and if somebody does, they're staying tight-lipped about it. Nobody really knows what human race seeded the Arcturians here in this galaxy, because this is one of the top 3 youngest galaxies in the entire, in the entire creation. I mean, that's just a fact, and we don't know, and the Arcturians are not quite sure either. Their history's a little sketchy when it goes back that far. It seems like they had an issue like we had, where a lot of books got destroyed, a lot of literature was hidden, was taken away from them, and they're still trying to figure that out about their history as well. So they're not sure where this human race came from, where they are now, or if they even existed after the time that they seeded the Arcturians here. Maybe it was just a last-ditch effort to save their race so they could, continue on, so their DNA could continue on, but they just don't know either. So that's kind of what they're up against right now, and they're sort of like, they would like you to think of them as your overself. If you vibe with the Pleiadians, and you resonate with their teachings and the Lyrans, then you look at them as maybe your higher self. They would encourage you to look at them as kind of like your grandparent race, because they were like a parent race to the Pleiadians and the Lyrans for hundreds of millions of years, helping them through their ascension, through their countless wars with star systems like Orion, countless civil wars with each other. The Arcturians had the patience of 25 saints in one. They really endured a lot more than the Pleiadians are putting up from Earth humans. So you kind of pay it forward in the galaxy. That's a little bit of how it works. Arcturus is in, if you look up into the night sky, they're in what is known as the Urus, I pronounce it Urus, the Urus star system. They are one of the most, well, they're the most in our galaxy, but they're one of the most, it is thought that they're one of the most advanced races to exist anywhere, period, within creation. That is the thought, that they have achieved a level to where they're just right at that absolutely perfect level for a soul, for a being. And their technology is second to none compared to anything that's ever been seen here in our galaxy. Like they had mentioned, they operate from the 9th through the 13th dimension. More so, it's just the top, it's just 11th, 12th, and 13th now. The 9th and the 10th, they're rapidly getting to a point, they think, within a century of Earth's time, where they will be done with the 9th and the 10th completely. and they will just operate out of the angelic realms. But that being said, there's still many now moments between now and then. They like to pride themselves on being the forerunners in the Milky Way galaxy, as far as how a highly vibrant civilization conducts itself. They kind of like to look at themselves as the role model, and the forerunners, so that people that come after them can get a good idea of how a society should work. Whether that's being responsive instead of reactive, right? Yeah, more now moment living, more just enjoying the time, but still being aware but not letting it drain your energy. You know what I'm saying, with any issue. So they also are firm believers in the collective of each civilization working it out to what kind of vibration that everybody's going to be on as a whole, what the overall vibrational level is. They're really big on people getting together and discussing and talking about and expressing what kind of a civilization they'd like to live in, each of them, and how that can be turned in the best possible situation for everybody involved. They have a lot of spiritual healing in Arcturus, lots of crystal healing, lots of crystal temples everywhere you go. It's kind of like we had mentioned that they're right below the pure angelic and heavenly realms, right? That they're sort of like you want to think of them as a transition area for that. They have portals that you can walk through. You decide that you're ready when you're there, and they will assist you in making the right decision and walking through that right portal and going on to the next phase of your evolution, to your next phase of consciousness, wherever that may take you. They're just there to have your best interest at heart. They're like that wonderful grandparent race. And they've learned it all. They've had their battles too. They had helped in one of Earth's incarnations. They were the ones responsible for coming down here and assisting one of the initial human races here on Earth. That's when a guy by the name of Lucifer was the captain of that mission for Arcturus. He wasn't listening to back home. He wasn't heeding any of their warnings or any of their advice, and they decided to let him go. They decided to go ahead and relieve him of his duty with what is known to be Archangel Michael. They sent Michael down here to take over for him. And when that happened, Lucifer took off with a third of his staff and went out and became rogue on his own. So that's a story that doesn't get talked about a lot, but that's, if you read a book called Heir of the Gods, Heir of the Gods, with doctors Lee Gladden and Vivian Gladden, a couple that wrote this book in 1978. Yeah, it's called Heirs of the Gods, an interplanetary space tale of the Bible. And it is, they were inspired by Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods, and books like that, The 12th Planet by Zechariah Sitchin. It kind of gets more to the meat of the story than you're used to hearing in, a played out Sunday school setting or something like that, right? The Arcturians like to constantly working on getting people thinking about that transition of going, that adaptation of non-physical consciousness, with still being able to enjoy certain things in the physical world and some of the things that are fascinating to you. They really, they try to help you find that balance, so you don't get rushed into anything, or you don't get frustrated with your growth path. You just continue on and take it at your rate, while at the same time still moving onward and upward every now moment that you're working it out. If you're interested, if you're a soul who's interested in vibes with Arcturus, how do I want to put this? If you're a soul that vibes with Arcturus, and you feel like you need them for the hereafter, they're a good race. They're a good outlet to. They're a good group of people to get hooked up with to, you know, help put your mind at ease a little bit. They're patient, they're loving, they'll work, like I said, they'll work with you like a grandfather will. They don't have as much to say typically as a Pleiadian would or a Lyran would, because they're a little bit more ascended, so most of theirs just comes with straightforward knowledge. That their consciousness is super high, and they're there to be there for you. You know, they're there to help you with your spiritual healing. They're there to help you with unity consciousness. None of the BS, just straightforward things that are going to help you. And they also, these civilizations are so advanced in Arcturus that they constantly are preaching some of the most fundamental, you know, ingredients that you could have for 13D living. It's a dimension of love is what it is. It's kind of like getting up into that love vibration completely, you know. It's a complete energy, but it's a positive energy. And you know, they just look at it like negativity is fear. It's not allowed up there. It really isn't. It's not even really in their vocabulary anymore. Not even at all. You know, you have to, they are also big on not carrying guilt with you. They do not want, you know, their grandchildren, race of humanoids to have to carry the burden that the Pleiadians and the Lyrans did before them and that they did before them. You know, they want to see you have an easier time, and they don't want you carrying around that guilt with you. You know, they want you to exchange that guilt, trade that guilt in for a little bit of love, whole lot of light, whole lot of love, however you see fit. But yeah, detach from that kind of information, or those kind of scenarios as soon as you can. You know, when it comes to the way they travel throughout the universe, they travel in some of the most advanced spacecraft that you could ever imagine. I mean, they're practically, there's no real nuts and bolts to these things. They're like spheres. They're like almost like a big giant orb, kind of a sphere type thing. They operate on pure consciousness. They don't operate on like crystals and things that star societies do that are maybe a couple generations or a couple dimensions down further than them. You know, maybe they're still in the, you know, somewhere between the 7th and the 9th dimension or something like that, right? And there might be a little bit of a nuts and bolts to their equipment. Not with an Arcturian ship. Even their orbs are a lot smoother looking. There's only, you know, a few different souls that are on those orbs versus like a whole team of them. It's pretty much just a free consciousness flow once you're up at that level, you know, and they work hard to stay there. They don't get complacent either. You know, a lot of Arcturians will, to stay humble, to stay focused, they will take turns. Even the elders will. The elders will take turns doing, you know, menial jobs, like just, you know, just to show their gratitude, just to give their gratitude. They all share in what work there is to be done. And they all really appreciate each other for doing it. And they appreciate the opportunity to get to do it for each other. You know, and it sets a great example. They're a dream society. They really are. It's you couldn't have asked to have a better collective than a collective from Arcturus have your back and watch out for you. A lot of, you know, even a lot of Arcturian starseeds though, and coming back, a lot of them, you know, they know that they're going to have, Arcturus is always going to be there for them, so it gives them a little bit of that luxury if they want to go ahead and incarnate another time as an Earth human and maybe pick up an elective or two, you know. They certainly can do that, knowing that, you know, that vibration will still be and always be part of their home and open to them. The Arcturians really have a big political say in what goes on in our galaxy. They're seated on all sorts of planets so they can sit on councils. So that, you know, because it's important for them, playing kind of the elder statesman civilization in our galaxy, it's important for them to have their finger on the pulse, and especially since they have the highest technology level and the highest consciousness level. Yeah, it's pretty dang important for them to be involved. So you will see them, you know, not a lot of them in each place, but you will see pretty much every outlet you go to, every major ship throughout the galaxy that's of the light, every planet that has star seeds incarnate there, you will see some Arcturians in key positions at every one of those, or at least in a very key observant position. Okay, because like I said, it's important that they know, and it's just part of our growth pattern to have them in our life like that. And who wouldn't want them there? I mean, they're somebody that you can really lean on if you're having some issues. They're amazing. And there is a reason too why, people always talk about, well, are we going to ever have an alien invasion? Are we ever going to be attacked by evil aliens? And the fact of the matter is we haven't, no, because they're afraid of the Arcturians. The Arcturian ships are so advanced, their vessels are just, they're perfect. And they're stationed around Earth, believe it or not. A lot of them are. The Athena, the Athabantia, I used to channel them a couple of times, and you can channel those Arcturian ships. Look up an Arcturian ship and see if it's stationed around Earth. There's a few of them that are. And as far as their political dynamics, how they work, they're ran by elders. Nothing fancy. They're ran by elders, and that's probably how it should be. I mean, especially when you're a society that's that enlightened, you have to figure in that scenario especially too, it's not just a respect thing, but those elders, they're going to be priceless. You couldn't strip that kind of help and wisdom. And they understand too what they understand, and why they're always constantly moving forward in that direction. They're constantly and perpetually moving forward. They're thinking about it, because they realize, hey, look, the higher your vibration, the more that you engulf yourself in circles of light, hook yourself up with people that are hooked into the light like you are, the more you do that, the higher your vibrational frequency is going to raise, and your consciousness awareness will increase tenfold. All of this stuff will, you'll continue to be increased in your role of being part of that source flow of all that is that consciously goes. You know what I mean? It just flows. It's that source flow that just consciously goes. And, that's kind of where they've really worked hard for, like I said, a quintillion years to get to. That kind of just peace. They just, but they worked hard for it, and they have steps in place so they don't take it for granted. And I don't think they're capable of taking it for granted at this point. I mean, how ascended they already are. I mean, without going into the heavens, you can't really get past 13D. So they pretty much got it going on. They have advanced probably, so a quintillion years ago is really not that long ago, to be honest with you, because the real number, if we were to put a number on how old Earth is, or the planet is, the solar system, the galaxy, whatever, universe, it's probably so long ago that you couldn't even say it, that you couldn't say the number through verbally in several years, and yet at the same time it probably just happened a nanosecond ago. So time is really irrelevant, but I would say that for the Arcturians to be as advanced, or just about as advanced as any galactic society out there anywhere in creation, that's pretty amazing considering how young of a galaxy we are. And how we would know that, I'm not sure. If we're not even sure where and who, see the Arcturians here, I'm not sure how we could know about the advancement thing, because you have to think that creation is endless. And if we're only the second or third youngest of all the galaxies, man, it's just wild. It would be wild to know how big they are on average. Yeah, probably pretty big. But yeah, it's just really crazy. But yeah, so I just wanted everybody to, the Arcturians are still there. They're there. They maintain a little bit of a low profile, kind of like the color blue does. It's prominent, it's out there, everybody loves it, but it kind of tries to, keep a low profile and do its thing. But yeah, you can always trust in the Arcturians. They have your back no matter what. And if they say they don't, you're not dealing with a real Arcturian. you'd really, you know, you better ground yourself and you better check your information. Yeah. Do the best you can, check it out, and then, you know, go from there. But yeah, I just was glad that they came through, and hopefully, you know, like we've been channeling, we've been talking with the translucent color realms from Arcturus from the 12th dimension there. These guys are from the 13th. I've talked with them before too. This was the first time they've thrown me for a loop with the crystal blue thing though, but that's okay. We never really got into it the other 3 times we channeled, so, you know, maybe it's important that they make that distinction right now. So, and that's pretty much it. If you want to find me, and I'm going to get this right this time, if you want to find me in all the social sites I'm involved in, all the YouTube channels, Facebook pages, you know, Snapchat, WhatsApp,